Man-in-the-middle attack is where the attacker secretly relays and possibly alters the communications between two parties who believe that they are directly communicating with each other, as you see in this image. Well, performing a man-in-the-middle attack generally requires being able to direct packets between the client and the server to go through a system the attacker controls. ARP spoofing is commonly used for redirecting traffic in a local network to the attacker's system. And here in this course, we will handle the ARP spoofing and the ARP protocol, how is the protocol works, just right away. ARP stands for Address Resolution Protocol. Now this protocol allows the network to translate IP address into MAC address. So as you see here, we have a computer 1 and computer 2. Now, computer 1 try to connect to computer 2 on the right, okay? So this is a switch. So this means this is a data link layer. So we have a MAC address only here. There's no IP address on the data link layer. So what is the solution in this case? We will use the Address Resolution Protocol. It will translate the IP address to a MAC address. So we are here on the data link, we are communicating using the MAC address. But C1 doesn't have the MAC address of C2. So each computer on the network has ARP table, has a lot of mapping between IP address and MAC addresses. So C1 broadcasts that I need the MAC address of this IP address. Okay, I need the MAC address of C2, and this is the IP address of C2. So the switch capture it and send it to everyone on the LAN that are connected to this switch. Then C2 replies, yes, it is my IP address. So here is my MAC address. Take it. Then C1 take it and save it on the ARP table, the ARP cache. Then it starts communicating with each other with this IP address using the MAC address specified. So here's come the ARP spoofing or ARP poisoning or ARP poison routing. It is the same. All of these words refers to the same thing. When an attacker claims that the IP address of C2 is his IP address and send his own MAC address to C1. So C1 starts communicating with the attacker believing that he is C2. And the attacker forward the packets from C1 to C2 and C2 think these packets come from C1 and so on. So here in this lecture, we will start this attack and we will do it using the ARP spoofing tool or EtherCAP. We will use these two tools on Kali Linux, and we will start sniffing the packets using Wireshark, URL Snarf, DriftNet to capture the HTTP, the passwords, the images, and the URL visited by the victim. Anything on the network. Now, let's start. Okay, the first thing, let's start with the ARP spoof tool. Now, the first thing, make sure it is installed by doing like this. apt install dsniff. So this tool came from this package, the dsniff. Now I already have it, okay? So for now, here, the ARP spoof. Here is the syntax for this, how to use this tool. The ARP spoof, the name of the tool, -i, the interface. Here in my case, because as you see, I use a virtual machine here. I use, if you type ifconfig here, I use this as an Ethernet. But for now, let's focus on the concept or how the tool and how our attack works. Then we will do it as a real-life scenario. Okay, again, this is the Ethernet, the interface. Now with -t, the target. Here, we will use that from this IP address to this IP address. So which means any packet on this network from this IP address and are going to this IP address, this will be intercepted. So if I type enter here, now anything coming from the router, this is the gateway or the router, and are going to this client, which is the host machine, the Windows machine in my case, it will be intercepted and we can sniff it. Now we want to sniff and intercept the packets that are coming from Windows machine or the host machine to the router. Open a new tab and type again, but swap between them, that coming from this to this one, from the host to the router gateway. Now we are intercepting the packets. We poison all the ARP coming from this to this and vice versa. So let's open Wireshark here. Now here in our case is the Ethernet here, Eth0. Now as you see, we are capturing all the traffics that are coming from the Windows machine. So here let's type HTTP like this. As you see, there is no HTTP websites. So if I type list of HTTP websites, for example, and if I go to here, then choose anyone from these. Okay, now it's just a random website, just any website. Okay, as you see for this one and for this one, anything. Okay, now if you return here, you will notice that there are a lot of websites, a lot of traffics using HTTP. Now also here's come the importance of surfing as secure websites or HTTPS or SSL websites with certificates, because all the traffic will be encrypted and cannot be captured. Now, so as you see, this is a plain text. So if I type here export object, let's stop it for now. And if I type here export object HTTP like this, yeah. So let's save this image, or you can save them all, but there are a lot of images here. Let's save this image, for example, and see. Let's put it on the desktop, and let's put it as anything, doesn't matter. Yeah, let's save it here, and let's check it out. You will see we have image here. We captured and sniffed an explain image, okay, from the host machine or the machine that are on the network. Now this is serious. Okay, let's use this tool, URL snarf -i f0. Now we are listening, and any website being visited by the victim, which is the Windows machine here in our case, will be printed here. Now let's use tool called DriftNet. Now as you see, all the images will be displayed here that are being visited from the host machine. So for now, we used the URL snarf to sniff the URL that being visited. We used the DriftNet. All the images will be displayed here that are being served by the host machine, the victim machine. And we use the ARP spoofing here in our case. Now let's use the EtherCap. Ctrl-C to cleaning up and re-ARPing targets. Okay. Now, yeah. Now here, the EtherCap, as you see, if it is not installed, download it, apt install EtherCap. Now EtherCap -T to print a text, -I the interface, which is F0, -M, which means this is a man-in-the-middle attack, ARP. Now there is two cases here, ARP, either it is a remote or one-way. Remote to poison two target, this target and this target, the router and the client. But one side only will poison from here to here. It is the same as you are using only one command, which is like this, I think. Yeah, which is like this, from the router to the client. Let's remove this. Yeah, as you see, from the router to the client. And here, from the router to the client, and from the client to the router. If I type enter here, as you see, it will start capturing all the traffic. Now again, if I do this, refresh, it will start capturing as previously. The real fun comes in the next lecture. We will put what we learned into practice, and we will discuss this scene in Mr. Robot Show, what is real and what is not, by doing it. So take a break if you want, or let's continue.